Against this right back, Charlie.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
Thank you very much for that one, Ian. Right, I could take it from here. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night, depending on where you're locked in from, and obviously the time of what you're, obviously the time when that you're watching this video, innit? So yeah, appreciative to you lot tuned in, my long-term supporters, those tuned in for the first time. Make sure you're hitting the sub button because you're hooked, people. On the topic of that, as usual, notification gang, make sure you've got that on. Make sure you're following on all my socials, deludedgooner/deludedgooner04, deludedgooner04 on Twitter, on Instagram, all that good stuff. Make sure you're following on Twitch. Please, 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 most importantly, make sure you're commenting your opinions when this video premieres /after the vid. It's an all-inclusive platform. It's our platform, people. And it's your opinions. Football's a diverse game, innit? And I love to hear it. Don't forget to hit the like button. All the things that I've mentioned pushes the YouTube algorithm to grow our platform further, people. So as you know, we're getting closer and closer to the restart of the Premier League. We're getting closer and closer to January. Silly season, I don't have any evidence, but I would just a random number. I'd say 5% of these transfer rumors, there's probably truth. The rest is all nonsense. And the dream is free. The hustle was sold separately. I'm sure many Arsenal fans, Vlahovic, João Felix, Milinkovic Savic, Danilo, Tielemans, Jeremy Pino today, Asensio, Pedro Neto, even linked with Rafinha again. There's bare players that were being linked with that I'm sure many Arsenal fan would want, if not all of the names I said, some of them. So the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately. Let's see what the current news is currently saying regarding Arsenal or people being linked with Arsenal. Please hit the like button, let me share my screen. The first thing, obviously I've been on the Athletic, people, and David Ornstein spoken and stuff like that, but in relation to the Athletic and Mudryk, apparently several clubs have held talks with Shakhtar Donetsk CEO Sergei Pavlkin. Now we've heard he's been in London, he's spoken, he said it's not just one club in particular, he's speaking to all. Now that could be a game of poker. He could legitly, taking his words at face value, be speaking to other clubs, but you got to remember he's got an asset, which again in today's day and age, it's not what you can do. It's not what you're doing right now. It's what you can do. 21 years of age. Mudryk has a lot to like about it. From what I can see, there's a lot to like about the player. And you can see why Arteta's appetite has been wet with potentially bringing in the Ukrainian attacker. But he's not the finished article yet. So I can't begrudge Shakhtar for wanting to drive up the price, for telling, little white lies or being truthful. It's a game of poker, really and truly. As it says here, he was in London this week and held discussions with several clubs over a player that the Ukrainian club believed to be worth 100 million euros. That equates to 86 million quid. There's rumours Arsenal have tied up a deal for half of that. We already know Brentford and Everton had an interest last summer. The players had standout performances in the Champions League. Newcastle United and Manchester City have been looking at him. Arsenal have been brought to the table. We're primarily looking at him. The Athletic reported earlier this week that Mudryk is now a priority target for Arsenal, who are hoping to drive the price down. Apparently, when asked if he'll be sold in January, Pavlkin has said, and we all know Mudryk himself has done all he can to get a move to Arsenal or elsewhere. To be honest, I don't know. At the moment, we are quite far from what we want and what clubs propose. Again, it's very early in the transfer market, really. Indirect conversations have been had, probably with Mudryk, his advisors, Mikel Arteta, Edu, how he'll tie into the team, how he'll, fit into Arsenal's plans, the makeup of his contract and things like that. At the moment, we are quite far from what we want and what clubs propose. It's not so far, but it's not what we need. We have discussions. One club, another club, they negotiate. We are in the process. Will it close this month? I don't know. It is maybe 50-50 with regards to the winter transfer window. I don't want to talk about figures now. We are in discussions. We have interest from English clubs and we are in in the process, people. When asked about Arsenal, Manchester City, or Newcastle, he replied, "Every day I read about another English club. If you believe the newspapers, it's all of the English clubs. But to be honest, it is true, as I've had contact from many clubs. A lot of them are involved in this process, people." And once again, further confirmation that he's a primary target for Arsenal, people. Apparently, sources with knowledge close to the matter say there's a good chance it will happen, though nothing is agreed at present. Until the man is saying he watched Arsenal since he was a little kid, holding the shirt, taking the pictures with Vinay, Edu, and Arteta, anything can happen, people. So take things with a pinch of salt. Arsenal prepared to do so if an opportunity arrives that the club deem right for the long term, with Kroenke family, the American owners, wanting to back now Sporting Director Edu and manager Mikel Arteta. As we know, they've stated his valuation at 100 million euros. They're going to need to be a bit more open to that, because respectfully to Shakhtar, to Mudryk's talents and himself as an individual, to Ukraine and the Ukrainian league, something is very wrong if somebody that's been on the scene 5 minutes is going for 100 million from the Ukrainian league without playing in the top 5 league, where there's so many question marks over him. I have no doubt for his potential, but he's not the finished article yet. There's probably a lot that he needs to work on. Everybody's an expert on Shakhtar, Mudryk, and Ukrainian football. What is his weaknesses? From what I see, he looks good, but I can't tell you specific weaknesses. It's about taking his strengths and making them greater, obviously working on your weaknesses in life, really. Arsenal among the clubs in touch with both Shakhtar and Mudryk's reps, with the 21-year-old known to be focusing on moving to the Premier League and determined to make the Emirates Stadium his destination, people. So that's that from The Athletic. As you know, in relation to Mudryk, Brentford had a deal to get him in the summer. It didn't bang, people. In relation to João Felix, we already know the CEO of Atletico Madrid has more or less said he wants to go. That interpretation is accurate, with interest in Felix from several top clubs. Some Premier League sides have been led to believe the Portugal forward could even be available on loan, albeit with a sizable fee and salary. And you're not going to undertake the fee they want, probably a couple of million, take on the bulk of his wages without a deal to take him permanently, or it doesn't matter. You're going to give a player, for Arsenal tomorrow and he hit it off. We're essentially developing a player that the world's going to be reminded of his talent, kind of like in the World Cup. And then Atletico might be closer to recouping some of their 100 million, which they may or may not get in January or the summer, depending on what's going on with Felix. We all know Aston Villa is an option. His agent Mendes is believed to be pushing. He's got a strong relationship with the Villa ownership, people. So that's probably where that's concerned, people. Some who work in top-level recruitment think Felix may be better suited to Arsenal, given the stylistic fit and their potential need for attacking reinforcements after, obviously, Gabriel has just got injured at the World Cup and has underwent knee surgery and is on the route to recovery. On that as well, people, away from that as well, big up Pablo Marie. He's back in Monza training after obviously a few months ago was a victim of a frenzied knife attack in a supermarket. Scary moment. The physical wounds heal, the mental ones I'm not too sure. So yeah, big up Pablo Marie on returning to action. Let's go all the way back here, people. Just because it makes sense. Any temporary deal for Felix would require a significant loan fee and an option to buy him next summer. You'd imagine so. Manchester United are about to push to sign 40 million Arsenal target. We all know Cody Gakpo seems to be going Man United. Seems that he's the front runner for that. There's a Dutch influence there, really. His manager right now at PSV is Ruud van Nistelrooy. Man United got the Eredivisie in lock in it, really. Over there, I actually got Van der Sar in that. That's probably why they picked us beyond everything else to Lisandro Martinez. So read into that what you will, people. Mudryk to Arsenal transfer talks open, with hopes Shakhtar the next lower 85 million asking price, kind of reiterating the same. But this was actually the most updated article I saw just before I started recording this video. Smash the like button, check out the YouTube playlist for the transfer news. And I'm sure while this video is going on, you're seeing little things pop up to the left and the right at the end of the video the same. So check out the rest of it, get your DG fix. Arsenal have open talks with Shakhtar the next over a deal for Mudryk, and it kind of correlates with what the CEO said, that he's been in London or England talking to several clubs. We have made signing a new wide forward a priority in the January transfer window, as we knew prior to Jesus' injury. Arsenal have been tracking Mudryk since the summer and have now entered negotiations with Shakhtar in the hope a deal can be struck. Shakhtar valued a 21-year-old at 85 million, but it's thought they could soften their stance. Arsenal wanted to sign a wide forward during the summer, and they looked at Pedro Neto of Wolves. We all know we need more firepower in the best of days, more so with the injury. Shakhtar are reluctant to sell Mudryk next month, as they are aiming to win the Ukrainian top flight, which would secure qualification to the Champions League. They want their star winger to help them achieve that goal and then assess his options next summer. That's fair. Mudryk is attracted to the prospect of playing for Arsenal and publicly revealed his admiration for them during a recent interview. There is, though, currently no indication that he would look to force through a move should Shakhtar dig their heels in and take a resolute stance over his future. I think he will. He's critical of his price tag, but again, there's no point forcing it out or forcing a move if there's no confirmation. If Arsenal have given encouragement to his advisors, to him, and they're kind of trying, like you see in London, to get a negotiating done, then maybe they'll rely on him to put pressure. But again, he's contracted until 25, 26. Shakhtar in an extreme, strength of negotiation. And again, there could be a bidding war. There might not be. There could be at the same time. We all know he's regarded as one of the best prospects in Europe. Again, his people at Shakhtar have said that after Vinicius, Rafael and Neymar, he's the best, really. So we'll have to see, people. Other clubs are expected to join Arsenal in the race to sign him, as it says there, people. So we'll have to see. And, Everton, Brentford tried to get him in the summer. There's a lot of players, Mudryk, Ramos, who scored a hat-trick for Portugal recently at the World Cup. Sorry, folks. Cody Gakpo, they've all kind of revealed that they had moves to Leeds, to Southampton. Southampton could have got Cody Gakpo, Leeds as well, but Southampton could have got Cody Gakpo and Ramos in the summer. Kudos to Everton as well. The World Cup, or what people doing at club level, kind of a bit of pill to swallow for certain clubs, I take it. So in relation to Mudryk, that is essentially, people. This is for another video, as I said, unnecessary Twitter tab over there. We've already seen this, people. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to need to think of a title for this vid. Arsenal maintain contact with the entourage of Mudryk because they love the shot to the next winger, Fabrizio Romano has revealed. I mean, we have to love what he can bring to the table, short, medium, and long term, if we're doing all of this, allegedly. So that makes sense. Jonathan David was linked with Arsenal, and this was just an article I was reading about his inconsistencies, and it kind of correlates, bit of confirmation bias for myself, kind of correlates what I've been saying about him. He could be a good option, but that added level, that uptake in higher level performances and the consistency of that still evades him, people, in my opinion. Milinkovic Savic. Now, I'd love him at the club. I know Xhaka is there and all the Serbia / Switzerland / Xhaka and Shaqiri's heritage. I know that's a thing. I don't believe anything that links us with midfielders or players from Italy, Benassia, Milinkovic Savic, Locatelli, Vlahovic, Torreira to this club and that club, Xhaka to Roma. We've been taken around the houses. For what it's worth, he's contracted until 2024. The Lazio chairman has been very bullish on the price tag he could get. Probably needs to accept his fate because in 2024, in the summer of 2024, he'll be allowed to walk away for free. So next summer of 2023, May, June, July, August, whatever, probably the last summer they can get a decent fee, really and truly, depending on if he wants to run down his deal, which you see what a lot of people are doing. Arsenal reportedly talking to Lazio midfielder Milinkovic Savic. There are reports that Arsenal have been in contact with the entourage of Lazio midfielder Sergei Milinkovic Savic, who's also been linked with Juventus, who are going through things, and Chelsea. Contracted until 2024. An extension seems to have hit problems. A summer exit is likely after years of transfer rumours that he always resisted, but running down the contract will also lower the asking price from over 100 million euros to about 40, 50. And that's probably encouragement for anyone that's linked with him. Who doesn't like a deal? According to reports in Spain, now I know technically Milinkovic Savic, I'm sure he was actually born in Spain or either Spain or Portugal or something like that. Spent time in Sporting Lisbon's academy for all of his bulk of his football has been played in Italy, to my knowledge, and obviously represents Serbia international football. Would love the player. According to a report in Spain, so a report in Spain talking about a player playing in Italy about an English club's targets. Now, football is universal, but I always try, and not that I know anything, but where's the primary source? Because typically it's always, a lot of the time with Arsenal, it's local media, like the smaller radio stations and news outlets that break kind of news, kind of what we saw with Fabio Vieira. But even that, it felt like we just woke up one day and Fabio Vieira was an Arsenal player, which was quite surprising. This article said Juventus have been the runaway favourites, but the investigation into their finances could be a problem. And again, their outlook in January looks bleak. In the summer, they might bust case and get away with this, really. They can sign some lawyers and attorneys and these things. So in the January, there could be a great chance to get him with Juventus not being able to commit a transfer fee like this. The same logic goes to Chelsea. Man United have also been linked with him as well. Chelsea are also known to be interested, although that is not their primary choice in that role. According to reports in Spain, Arsenal have been in talks with Milinkovic Savic's entourage to convince him that London would be the right option for him. So it depends what you read. Allegedly, Arsenal are skeptical about their chances of signing João Felix, people, says Dean Jones of Give Me Sport. I've seen a lot about Arsenal becoming the most serious contenders for him, but the people I speak to around the club do seem do seem slightly skeptical about that happening. So, I mean, fans are as well. That's nothing new here. We've been linked with a young right back playing in Spain, people, 18-year-old of Real Valladolid, Ivan Fresneda. Forgive me for mispronunciations, people. Several European clubs are led to be monitoring him. I mean, if he's got potential to grow and Cedric's allowed to leave because he's been linked with Fulham, I mean, for a variety of reasons, this right back, we need a right back anyways. He ties into what we have. Obviously, we've got Ben White and Tomiyasu, but if anything happens to a centre back and Ben White has to be pulled over there, you've only got Tomiyasu. If anything happens to Ben White and Tomiyasu, we're in problems. So 18 years of age, resale value, scope to grow, fits in with the project, addresses an area that we need, market value. Obviously, he's Spanish. I imagine Arteta watches a lot of La Liga and things like that. So it makes sense, really and truly, really. Allegedly, this article said the 18-year-old right back is one of the biggest prospects in European football at the moment. So we'll have to see, people. It all depends, you know. But there you have it, people. You know, he signed a contract extension. Not sure on the length of his contract, but there'll probably be a lot of interest. You look at this article, a lot of Italian clubs, Juventus, Milan, Inter, Roma. Being a defender under Jose Mourinho is like being an attacking player learning under Pep. That's something you can't begrudge. Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Brentford, Southampton, and Fulham are all looking at him. Rennes are looking at him in France, and also being monitored by Real Madrid and Barcelona, people. So we'll have to see. He's got a release clause of 30 million euros. Do I see us spending 30 million euros on a right back in January? You know, and bringing in Mudryk and addressing centre mid? Probably not. And even there might even be a striker arriving, because apparently some reports, as we've seen, check out the YouTube playlist, have said Arsenal still want to bring in a winger. That's still the primary target. But if an opportunity presents itself that's essentially too good to turn down, where a striker is concerned, they will do it. So can we do all of that and then spare 30 million for a right back? Or is this one that you could say, you know what, we'll come back in the summer? And, you know, you've heard Arteta is, regardless of if you rate Cedric or not, reluctant to let Cedric go without confirmation. And I admire that, because last January, we kind of messed up with the players we didn't bring in, but also the players we let go, whether you believe in them or not, folks. So it is what it is. This kind of says the same thing, but it kind of makes out that it's a two-horse race between Arsenal and Liverpool to sign the young Spanish right-back, people. So we'll have to see what's going on, people. Really, really and truly. So we'll have to see in that regards. We've been linked with Yeremy Pino, again, someone that was linked with us during the summer. Don't know what this means. It was kind of focusing on why he didn't play at the World Cup. I'm just going to scroll down to the Arsenal settings, people. Arsenal came to take him away. Arteta is in love with the footballer and forced Villarreal to renew it until 2027. Google Translate, I think that means signing a new renewal. Scroll all the way down. Villarreal expected last summer an offer from Arsenal or even from Liverpool worth 40 to 50 million euros, people, which would have been accepted. So things can change, but pardon me, can that still be the case? We'll have to see where Yeremy Pino's concerned. Ivan Ndika allegedly is in talks over extending his Frankfurt deal, people. And we heard that he was close to agreeing a pre-agreement to join Arsenal in the summer. But all options have to be on the table. Signing a renewal, coming to Arsenal, signing for a club that isn't necessarily mentioned, people. He said, we're still in talks with him. He can imagine staying at Frankfurt. And again, Ivan Ndika, 23 years of age, he needs to keep every option available until he finds something that's too good to turn down. Reece Nelson allegedly wants to sign a new contract at Arsenal. It'd be lit for you to do that. 23-year-old. Seems like you're making progress now. Need to make more significant ones. And without talking about who signed for this club, who hasn't, you know, you're a player that could, you know, that second half of the season, you, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, Tierney, Slyly, Tomiyasu, anyone that's had a big part role or not played as much as we thought, we're going to need every player. And again, whether we bring a winger in or not could be a blow to Nelson, but you could be a good squad player here. And do you know what? If we don't sign a winger, you know, Martinelli could go up front, Eddie could play up front, Smith Rowe left or the right. I actually think he preferred to play off the left, or I actually think he prefers to play inverted off the left 10 and then right wing. But yeah, man, he's looked like he's got a new lease of life. Let's see what the 23-year-old brings to the table in what's given of him. But he's got 6 months left on his deal. He's kind of doing all he can to stay at the end. You could be this season's Eddie Nketiah in that, you know, with your contract running down, you play well and Bob's your uncle. I've been here since I was 8 and Arsenal is all I know. I'm only a couple of minutes from the stadium. All my family is there. So, of course, I'd love to stay. Yeah, it's amazing. I've said a few times, I've been here since I was 8. I'm 23 now, so I've been here a long time. I'm Arsenal through and through. So to be playing even in games just like this, I'm delighted. Of course, injuries are just a minor setback, but of course, I just look towards the future and hopefully I can play many more. I can play many more years at the club. So that tells you everything, people. I'd give him a new deal. I badly want it to work out. We've seen this, but Arsenal prepare final attempt to sign Yuri Tielemans this January, with Leicester able to recoup half of what they paid. They've been linked with the Moroccan lad of Angers. I can't say his name. Is it Ornani? Ohani? I can't pronounce his name. But they've been talked about bringing him in. Now, his price has probably shot up a tiny bit as well. Apparently, they're bidding 45 million euros for him, people. So could they offset that with getting, well, you won't get 20 million. Arsenal not going to pay 20 million on a man 6 months left in Yuri Tielemans' case. 10, 15, that kind of offset stuff. I reckon if I'm Leicester, you accept that Tielemans is leaving for free unless someone, offers you 20 million, like it says they're prepared to part ways. You help him try and keep you in the division. You bring in new players, and then he's kind of proven his worth really and truly with the money you get via staying in the Premier League. But we're reportedly trying to make a final push in January, which could mean why we're two different positions, well, same position, different players, but why we've maybe moved away allegedly based on reports from Danilo, people. 20 million for a player with 6 months left. I'm not too sure we'll do that, but if we did that and Tielemans makes us stronger to get top 4 and beyond, 20 million well spent, and 20 million is still half of what they paid. For a 25-year-old, it'd still be a bargain, if I'm completely honest with you. So we'll have to see, man. We've been linked with Tielemans for years. Every window it seems like it's a formality. So we'll have to see, man, really and truly, where that one there is concerned. Arsenal have now made their first move to sign 26 million midfielder ahead of PSG. This is linked with Ibrahima Bamba, really. Italian international playing for Portuguese outfit, looks quite good, scores quite high for metrics in terms of how he plays with intensity, grounds covered, progressive passes, young, impressionable, scope to grow. Don't know anything about him from a personal point of view, but I'm sure that the diligence can be done by Arsenal. He's got interest from Atalanta and Villarreal as well, people. But allegedly, we've made contact. Allegedly, people. Many clubs are tracking him, allegedly, as you would. He's available for 26 million. He's got 30 million pound release clause, 30 million euros, 26 million release clause, which could be right up our street. It's unclear whether Vittoria would be willing to negotiate on that, but that fee is something Arsenal would likely be able to afford if they really want the player. The report also says Arsenal are not the only club to have made an approach, and it is expected offers will soon follow. It is, well, it is, people. So, yeah. Better than Sambi Lokonga from what I've seen. But yeah, once again, we've been linked with Benassia. Again, there's talk of him signing a contract or not at AC Milan. I'd love to bring the former Arsenal man back home, really, but we don't know. We all saw Mikel Arteta hugging him after the game when we played AC Milan. Cue the rumours, really. He's in favour of a return to London. He'd earn more money here. He loves the London lifestyle, and he joined a competitive club. He would have a preference for London, a city he knows after his first spell at Arsenal when he was young. According to those close to him, he loves London, loves life in London, and moreover, I don't know what this means, but the city has places of worship, unlike Milan. Obviously, him being a devout Muslim in London, very multicultural in a nice way. We've got a cultural melting pot. Plenty of places for you plenty of places for you to get downtime with your young family. Plenty of places of worship for you. Could do your thing if you sign for us, people. But we'll have to see, really. He's been linked with Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, and Manchester United as well. But it all depends what you lot want to read, really and truly. It's quite boring with Benassia and Tielemans at this moment. If I'm completely honest, once again, refreshing Goal.com's transfer news page and seeing what they have to say. They've relayed that we're looking at Sergio Milinkovic Savic. We've spoken about Ivan Fresnedar as well. We've covered Reece Nelson's new contract. We've approached the entourage of Milinkovic Savic allegedly. Yesterday, we saw allegedly we was in contact with the agent of Vlahovic, where some David Ornstein, Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano say this is wide of the mark, and he's currently nursing a knee injury. But with us looking at strikers, all options, all availability should be open. We're not the favourites for João Felix. We've called off in our pursuit of Danilo from Palmeiras. We were linked with Mateus Cunha from Atletico and looking to hijack the Wolves deal. This today, actually, Chelsea have been linked with a double swoop for Felix and Cunha. Have to see how that one develops. We were previously linked with Asensio. We're confident Tielemans and Mudryk will join us, people. Apparently, we have personal terms agreed with both. Agreeing fees with clubs if you want to bring them in the upcoming transfer window is another thing. So we'll have to see, really. And I think I've covered a lot of this with linked with Ferran Torres previously as well. So we've spoken about Benassia, Milinkovic Savic, João Felix, Vlahovic, Mudryk, Jeremy Pino, and the rest of it, people. So yeah, man, that's the transfer news for today. Any emerging news, you know, I'll be alert and get the videos out for you lot. Please do me a favor, smash the like button. Don't forget to comment. Make sure your notifications are on. Follow on YouTube and Twitch. Make sure you're checking out the YouTube playlist. But most importantly, stay blessed, stay safe. Appreciative of all of you lot who are tuned in, and I'll see you lot soon. One love.
There's always just that active red light defending.
I think it's like